Good evening and welcome, slightly later than advertised, to Those Video Guys. I'm Sean Harry.
And I'm Miller Zuckerberg. There's our names up there, should be.
Yes.
Testing, guys. We're testing.
Got new software.
YouTube have released their own version of the Wirecast software. So we thought we'd try it out this week, see what it's like. See whether or not it works as well as the normal Wirecast.
Invented them. And Lego.
Indeed.
Cats
Absolutely.
and Lego.
Cats and Lego, yeah. So you can tweet the show. Lots of people are. So there's the Google Plus Hangout. That's what you can see on the Google Plus.
Aren't there enough social networks? I mean, do people still need even more social networks?
If you join the Google Plus Hangout, then maybe we can get you to wave live on those video guys.
Some people need to go to...
Well, you know, it's all about connecting, making new friends. And Google Plus is going to be taken over at some point, won't it?
I don't think Google's really... I think Google is too big.
So, well, why don't we kick off with...
Yes. Cats in space.
The favourite subject of
YouTube. And space. Yeah, but cats, people love cats.
People love cats, but do we like cats in space? Here is the clip.
Meow.
Cats in space. My main concern of cats in space is that cat was a red shirt. And I really don't want to know what's going to happen to a red shirt cat.
Well, what got me was great special effects, great look.
It's superb look.
I just love the look of the cats. Typical. It's reminding me of those cats when we saw the
Jedi
Star Wars Jedi cats.
Jedi cats.
Where you've got the cats just got this look on their face. You know, they just really don't care what's going on. They're just.
It's.
They don't even try acting. No, they just do their own thing.
It's like, just get it over with. Yeah. Just turn on your camera, do what you got to do, and just take this damn red uniform off me afterwards. And I don't know what that robot's doing in the corner. No, it looks great. Special effects are superb. Very funny. Too short. It was way too short.
I'm getting 2 new cats in 4 weeks' time.
Right, indeed.
So what I'm going to do is, as soon as they come in, I'm going to be videoing them all the time. I'm going to turn them into YouTube stars.
Well, you have to. They need to be like boxers.
Right. Yeah. All cats love boxers.
Well, my cat never liked boxers. What else? They have to be good stalkers. You know, do that whole sort of ninja cat thing.
My 2 previous cats, the stuff they got up to, and then I see clips of cats on YouTube, and I'm like, these 2 did far more insane things than that. And if I'd videoed it like 15 years ago when they were doing it all, you know, it would have got 1 million hits on YouTube, and I'd have been raking it in from the advertising.
There you go. You have to teach them how to flush a toilet.
Yes. I've got to teach them some new stuff that hasn't been done before. You know, maybe play on a PlayStation 3 or something like that.
So, why don't we get some suggestions for anyone who can guess what your names are going to be for the cats.
Oh yeah, well they've already been chosen. So
yeah,
let's see if you can guess.
Let's see if you can guess.
Or if you can send us any suggestions of what you think I should train my cats to do, that would make for something interesting for YouTube, cats on YouTube clips.
Yes, there you go. Some suggestions for Sean's new kitties. So, cats in space. Oh wow, that's definitely 3 martinis.
Yes.
Go to YouTube.
How many hits has it had so far?
I think it's had quite a lot. It's been. I've seen it. You always know when something's popular when your own feed, when your own Facebook, your own friends are retweeting something, and it's just like when you have more than I think 3 or 4 of your sort of close knit friends retweeting, you know that this is actually quite viral. YouTube.com Dastoli Digital, DASTOLIDIGITAL. So go and check them out, and hopefully, the more popular that video becomes, the more chance we have.
More clips.
Cats in Space Part 2.
Yeah, continue. Do you remember Pigs in Space?
I do remember Pigs in Space.
Classic. That was classic science fiction. That was.
So, let's go on to our next clip. So, do you want to introduce this next clip?
Well, this is Titanic. Which is recently, being a bit topical because it's been recently re-released and converted into 3D. So we're having somebody kind of like cashing in on that.
So this is Titanic Super 3D.
In cooperation with George Lucas.
Drop your weapon! Maybe it's another drill.
J.J. Abrams. And Michael Bay.
It's quite clever in this, the way that they actually know exactly the style of spoof that goes in with each director.
Yes. Actually, I thought the Stormtrooper was really seamlessly added.
That was actually, that was absolutely some beautiful compositing effects.
It was absolutely fantastic. It was really, really clever.
Yes.
And of course, as soon as Michael Bay's name came up, you just knew what to expect.
I'm not so sure though, because as soon as they said Michael Bay, for me, Michael Bay, there's a lot of things. One of them is all the explosions, yes, but there should have been like some hot chick in a bikini bending over for no apparent reason whatsoever, and a couple of really racist jokes being thrown out there as well. So
yeah,
and people shouting at each other for no reason. That's all Michael Bay. But J.J. Abrams definitely, since he's the lens flare all over the he likes his lens flares.
And not necessarily many people would have necessarily got that joke. They would have thought.
Or you only have to have seen, but when you first see Star Trek,
you
see all those lens flares, you think he's just trying to be futuristic. But then you see super 16mm.
Right.
Or was it Super 8? That was
Super 8,
Super 8, and that's set in the 80s, and there's lens flares all over the place on that as well. So
it's actually really funny. Wasn't quite sure what to expect, but go to youtube.com Pistol Shrimps. Pistol as in the gun. PISTOL Shrimps. Check that one out. Check the full length one. The Michael Bay jokes keep coming up as well throughout that video.
Michael Bay is so easy to spoof. I mean, out of all the directors, he really is a bit of a hack.
But it's really interesting because, I mean, everyone seems to be taking the piss out of Michael Bay on YouTube all the time now.
Yeah.
Yet, people don't stop going to his films. They still support them. They still.
You want to know something? I think there's a whole difference between, and there's something I don't understand with film goers is that you go on IMDb. And you look at the film ratings, certain films they get, and you get certain films, you read the reviews of them, you see the ratings they get. Good example, that Battleship that opens this weekend. Or films like Not Another Teen Movie or Epic Movie and those kind of films, or Michael Bay's Transformers films. They come out, the critics savage them. Then you see the ratings people give them on IMDb, and it's like getting a 2 or a 3 rating. And then you see the box office, and they make millions. People are just queuing up to see the film. Then you go see a film like Serenity or Kick-Ass or something like that, and the reviews are really good. The ratings, everybody on IMDb gives them high ratings. You go on Twitter, and everybody's tweeting what a brilliant film it is, and then it bombs at the box office. I think success of films has everything down to marketing and how much money is spent on force feeding you a product.
Unless you're Disney.
Talking of quality,
John Carter.
That really was a case of them having no clue of how to advertise that movie. But talking of films that are very clever, very intelligent, but because of that aren't going to reach an audience. Have you seen Cabin in the Woods yet?
No, that's on the list.
You should go and see. But I will say to people, from what I understand, it had one of the highest ever critic scores, and the biggest difference between what the critics gave it and what the audience exit poll gave it. Because it had something like an 85% on Metacritic.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, it was getting an average D score from audiences on exit polls from the cinemas.
Because their expectations weren't being met.
It's sold as a horror film, and it's not.
It's not, yeah.
It's something else. But if you tell people what it is...
But you need to think it's a horror film.
You need to think
to get
it's
the
a horror
joke.
film going in. But there's not one scary moment in it. But it's still a good film.
Cool. So Titanic Super 3D. Check it out. YouTube.com. Pistol Shrimps. So, our next one.
Now, if it's not cats, and if it's not space, the next biggest things on YouTube are Batman and Lego. And we have seen them combined many times before.
Indeed.
But here we have with the Dark Knight movie coming out.
A shot-for-shot remake.
Of the trailer, yes.
In Lego. Here's a clip.
The mayor's going to dump him in the spring. Really? Mm-hmm. But he's a hero. A war hero. This is peacetime.
You think this can last? There's a storm coming, Mr. Wayne. You and your friends better batten down the hatches. Because when it hits, you're all gonna wonder how you ever thought you could live so large and leave so little.
I'd really love to know how long it takes to make one of these, because...
Well, I was actually wondering, I thought to myself when I was watching this, how are they going to do the football stadium bit?
Yeah.
And they actually did it pretty well, I thought. But that was obviously a bit of CGI being used there. But yeah, these Lego things must take
They're so clever, some of them, and they're just really, really nicely animated. They're not blocky or anything.
I did see a documentary on how they did it, or they do a lot of these Lego ones on BBC World Service. They've got a computer program on the weekends, and they did a thing on these Lego animated things. Usually, once they've had all the mouth stuff is done in a computer.
It's done separate, yes.
But everything else is done stop motion, and
And of course, when you let's say you're Aardman Animations, when you're doing a stop motion, you've got clay models which are probably this big, so it's easy to move them around. But of course, Lego, you're talking about characters this big, and so your sets are tiny. So I assume they're using macro lenses and things. It's much. I would imagine it's far more painstaking doing every single shot for every your 24 frames a second, whatever they're doing it at.
And have you heard the news of The Hobbit? Just segueing on something else. Hobbit is the first film being released where the film is 48 frames per second.
And people weren't quite sure what to make of it when they had the test footage.
Apparently,
at
when people
Now.
have seen it, people have said that it is. You really do notice the difference in quality.
But I think one of the things I was reading from the people who saw the footage, which was they screened 10 minutes of footage of The Hobbit at CinemaCon, which is the convention for the cinema owners, so that they can see what's coming up over the next few months, so they can start making appropriate plans. But some of the comments were coming through as it's almost like watching television, because it's that high definition look where everything is, you could almost tell the sets were sets, because suddenly that effect that you get when something's quite cinematic, slightly soft, is gone, and everything is too perfect, too in focus, that you actually start seeing the defects.
James Cameron is currently working on trying to have no frame rate whatsoever. Everything is real time.
Everything is real time. And how many frames would you need for real time?
I have no idea.
And see, what people forget, of course, is the human eye compensates in a lot of different ways. And of course, for films, when you go to a cinema at 24 frames, the eye and your brain is so has been conditioned in a particular way that you might not necessarily.
But a lot
It
of
would
people,
jar. It might not
a
necessarily
lot
be
of people
something
didn't
you want
think
to see.
Blu-ray was going to take off, and to be honest, I could really see the difference in Blu-ray when that first came along.
But Blu-ray is a change in the size of the
Yeah.
picture. It's not the change
Yeah.
of a frame rate.
Mm.
So, you know, and especially when you're used to watching American things, which were all shot in NTSC,
Yes.
then of course Blu-ray was a
You know
massive
what,
change.
You know what NTSC stands for? Never
Not the
twice
same,
same
yeah.
colour.
Never twice same colour. Yeah. So Lego The Dark Knight. Check it out. It's
Definitely
YouTube.
3 stars from me.
Indeed, yeah, absolutely agree with that. YouTube.com Paranick Films. Parnick Filmz, not S. Paranick Films. So, hey, what is every sci-fi geek's dream?
To have a jetpack.
Jetpack to fly, absolutely. And someone is flying.
Since King of the Rocket Men.
Since King of the Rocket Man. Here you go. A real life King of the Rocket Man. Well, this is a video called Jetman. It's sponsored by Breitling watches. Not quite sure what the connection is between Breitling and jetpacks. But hey, it's a stunt video. There's beautiful HD stunt videos, and wow, that's all I can say. Because you kind of think, as when you watch this video, the guy jumps out of a helicopter, switches on the jetpack.
I wonder how long the jetpack works for.
Well, that's it. How long does it work for? But also, how would you actually test it out without actually just doing it?
Well, because you know, I mean, you know those kind of like jetpacks they used to have with the big rockets on.
Yeah, and you just sort of moved up slowly.
What's his name? Kick-Ass used it at the end of the Kick-Ass film, but he's flying all over the place.
Yeah.
Apparently, those only last for 30 seconds.
Right, so it's up and down.
Basically, you go up and you have to have touched the floor within a 30-second period, because after that, all the fuel's gone and everything.
Well, so this is kind of a combination of gliding and then using the jet to sort of bring him back up again, and just because obviously they've picked a really sort of a valley, so there must be some kind of whatever the science is. But anyway, it's beautiful, and you kind of think, wow, quite scary. Would you ever do it? Would you do this? Jump off a helicopter with someone a jetpack that Breitling the watchmakers gave you?
No, unless they gave me a really big stack of money.
Because the other thing, because that towards the end when the parachute comes up from to land, it sort of takes a while for the parachute. Yeah. You're thinking, is that parachute actually going to come out? Because it seems to be struggling. But Jetman, I think it's a 3 martini video. It's quite astonishing. Check it out at youtube.com Rafina Souza Official. RAFINHA SOUZA Official. So, on to
video number 5.
Our web series of the week.
Yes, Super Knocked Up.
This is called Super Knocked Up, and we've reviewed superhero ones before, but this time, this superhero story is not about a superhero, it's about a supervillain. Here's the clip.
My name's Jessica James. I'm a supervillain.
Who's pregnant?
So, the storyline. The storyline is it follows Jessica, who is the supervillain called Darkstar, and her nemesis is Captain Amazing. And just they're known for their heated battles, but one particular, I guess, fight ends up in the bedroom.
Yes.
And Jessica wakes up and discovers a few weeks later she's pregnant from Captain Amazing. It's quite a funny premise. I've not quite seen it before.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I think the idea of the hero and the it made me think of something like Batman and Catwoman, or in the G.I. Joe film, G.I. Joe and the Baroness, where you got the good guy fighting the bad guy. But it was usually it's a. This was interesting. It was done from the villain's perspective.
Yes.
Not usually it's from the hero's perspective. Although I did also think of Dr. Horrible as well. I don't know if you've seen that, the Joss Whedon web series, which again, that was about a supervillain as well.
Yeah. And of course, you've got the whole idea of the pregnancy, which is really the feature of this particular story, and is obviously the reason that she's going to start changing her life. She already she can already see her parting ways with Dr. Destruction and the Society of, I can't remember what they're called, Society of Supervillains or whatever it is. And of course, then they try and kill her because now could be getting closer to Captain Amazing, and of course, Dr. Destruction's spies are telling him what's going on. But the series, it's only 5 episodes. Hopefully,
do you think there'll be any more?
I'm sure they're planning to. I know they've been meeting to try and discuss that. It's they definitely should be doing more. I loved the actress. I can't remember her name now. The one who played Jessica. I thought she was really, really good.
How's it been doing hits wise?
It does very, very well on Coldcast. It's Coldcast is its main outlet, and I know it's in the tens of thousands on Coldcast. Yeah. It's a really, really popular show. So it's it's worth checking out, especially if you like superheroes, comic book style. There is also on their channel, if you go to superknockedup.com, their website, not only can you watch all episodes, but they also have like a secondary series, which is there's a character in the story who is the newscaster who likes to interview the superheroes. She covers all the gossip on superheroes and supervillains, kind of like an E-entertainment kind of show. But they've given you snippets of her show as a secondary series that sort of follows along the storyline. And of course, they've actually done stuff like actually gone to real comic cons and get people to talk about the characters and the story. And of course, there is also a comic book you can buy from their website, which gives you a prequel to what happened up until the start of Super Knocked Up. Oh, we've just got some Gallifrey Times is in the YouTube chat room, says Blu-ray is fantastic quality compared to DVD.
I've completely moved over to Blu-ray. Well, I was a Gallifreyan, he must be quite disappointed they can't upgrade any of the classic Doctor Who's to Blu-ray.
Indeed. Okay, so we've got some suggestions for cats.
Yeah.
The Doctor, Barry and Paul. And Matthew M. Barrett says Alf.
I'm not surprised.
And Mike Glancy says he's trained his cats to sleep all day.
That's not difficult.
Gallifrey Times about Titanic says, went to see Titanic 3D yesterday and it was so 3D that I could actually feel James Cameron taking the money right out of my pocket. And Matthew Barrett reckons that Megan Fox was missing in a bikini washing scene on the Titanic deck.
Yes, that's what I said. That for Michael Bay, that's what he needed.
So going back to Super Knocked Up, this is definitely something I would recommend. It's fun. It's funny. If you like geeky stuff, this is one of those web series just designed for that audience. You know, the guild audience, isn't it? It's I guess it's pandering to us, isn't it?
It's very much a geek.
It's like saying you guys are going to watch this. And hey, it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
So this week we've had Cats in Space.
Cats in Space from YouTube.com. That's
very
digital.
Short clip. Look great though. I think it's being huge viral at the moment, and you've got to check that one out. We saw the Titanic in super 3D. Wonderful little spoof trailer. Some fantastic compositing effects.
Yes,
in there. Really very clever little compositing effects. We had the Lego Dark Knight.
Yep, from Paranic Films.
Yep. It's only about 3 minutes. Some great animation, definitely worth watching. And you know what's better than Batman or Lego or the two combined? Jetman. I'm glad it's him doing him and not me.
Hey, for our Rocket Man series, we need to go and talk to this guy, don't we?
Not really.
We're about shooting real life footage rather than green screen.
Yeah, for that kind of like Rocket Man thing, it's an action man on a string being.
Rafina Souza official for Jetman.
Yeah.
And then our web series of the week. Super Knocked Up. Really, really enjoyable show. 5
episodes so far. It's on Coldcast. Be sure to check it out.
Indeed. We'll be back in, I guess, a couple of weeks, I think.
Yes, we'll be back.
We will be back. But let's have a quick chat on season 2, episodes 1 to 4, Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
Bearing in mind that not everyone's read the books, so let's only talk about what is in those first 4 episodes.
Well,
does it meet expectations after the incredibleness of series 1?
The one problem I've got 2 problems with it so far. Firstly, there was a lot going on in the first season which kept it really rattling along. There was a murder mystery going on that Eddard Stark is investigating. You're being introduced to all these characters.
A lot of political intrigue.
I feel the second season for me is really suffering.
It's slowed down a lot.
Suffering a lot because you've got all the characters you had in the first season and you want to see what's happening with them. But at the same time, they're introducing all these other characters. And there's so many... It's like everybody's story at most gets about 5 to 10. I mean, it's like Daenerys' plotline, which... so much happened in the first season is now moving at an absolute snail's pace.
She hasn't done anything. She's walked like half a mile, I think, in 4 weeks.
And Jaime Lannister's still in a cell.
We haven't even seen him. I think
he's had like one scene. And I really feel that apart from Tyrion Lannister and Arya Stark, most of the characters we haven't really, because there's just not enough time to actually do anything with them. I also feel like it's all preparation for something big that's coming, a big battle or whatever, but it's just like, and it's moving and I can understand that they've got to cover a lot of ground, but it is moving quite slowly. I personally though would love it if, I hate it every week, there seems to be a sequence which is back at Littlefinger's, where 2 whores are having sex and are commenting on each other on how they moan. And there's like 5 to 10 minutes every episode of pointless sex that serves no point to the plot. And I'd love them to just cut those bits out and just...
get to the story.
Keep the story rattling along.
Gallifrey Times says, Game of Thrones, fantastic series, such creative writing and excellent filming skills. It is. It's put together beautifully. The production value is fantastic. I mean, it looks like a movie. It's got like almost like it's a movie budget.
Although I do notice that they've still avoided every single battle scene possible.
Oh, they have. Yeah, that's the one thing that they've done to keep the budget more reasonable. Is to just avoid any kind of fighting at all, except for the odd duel or gladiator, but any kind of battle thing.
There's been so far at least 3 to 4 big battle scenes.
We just see corpses,
which we've just basically cut to the end of the battle scene.
So this week's one, I wasn't quite sure whether I could tell if Lannister recognised Arya or not.
Oh yeah, because he didn't.
Because there's no reason why he would have even met her, because that family had not even gone to Winterfell.
He did not. I don't think he recognised. If he had recognised her, he wouldn't have said, "Have her as my cupbearer." He would have, he would have seen the value. Of that, it would have had as a bargaining tool for his sons. So, so that's going to be very interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, and that particular story is interesting because obviously the audience knows something that those particular characters don't, because the character who is the bastard son of Robert doesn't even really know this.
Yes.
In fact, no one knows this at all.
Is anybody ever going to find out now?
It's just it's a story really just for the audience.
But the thing about George R.R. Martin, he's very good at sleight of hand, in which he gives you the impression one thing's going to happen, and then something else completely happens. So, what do you think about Melisandre farting out a black smoke demon?
That was kind of interesting.
It was kind because I felt very weird about that was that although magic obviously exists in this world,
we haven't really had
been barely touched. We've had the one or two things.
Yeah.
We had the witch trying to resurrect Khal Drogo last season, and of course we've got the dragons, which I find the audience is kind of accepted. But this suddenly seems so far out there. It was kind of weird when that happens.
It was kind of, yes, it was like, bang, that's it. Demon, monster, smoke creatures exist.
Yes.
Without having any proper real context of them existing, other than we think, we know this woman is a witch, but she could also just be a mad person. No, but hey, we'll see what happens. It's holding my interest. It's holding my interest. I still think it's one of the best things around. And Gallifrey Times says a Series 3 has been confirmed, and he's very happy about that.
Well, apparently they're shooting Series 3 and Series 4 back to back. Because they're getting to a point now where they're going to have to start filming the books quite rapidly because of the ages of the kids.
Of course. That's true. Absolutely. Cool, guys. I think we're going to wrap it up there for this week. We will be back for those who are watching.
Well, keep an eye on the Twitter. Keep an eye on the Twitter, because then Alizar will let you know when the next edition of those video guys is going to be.
Last word on the cats. Gallifrey Times insists that the names of the cats have got to be Doctor Who related.
Well, actually, the names of the cats are going to be Cleo and Caesar.
Cleo and Caesar. There you are. There's a YouTube first. Mm-hmm. So look out for the Cleo and Caesar YouTube channel. Do you have you bought that? Have you got the channel yet? Have you reserved it?
No. I'll have to do that then. Yes.
You might have to change your mind if you discover that Cleo and Caesar as a YouTube channel has been taken. If you're joining us for Talking Who, we will be in Talking Who in 15 minutes time, right back here at youtube.com, Those Video Guys TV. But let's just run down our social networks.